So we've arrived on this job and it is a Volvo, not sure, 2006, let's see what model this is. D5. The vehicle is actually a Volvo C70, and what I'm going to do is get the top-down Phoenix Smart plugged into this and we'll do a health scan. The customer complaint is it's a crank no start. Was driving it one day down the road and the vehicle cut out, leaving them stranded, so they got it recovered back to their home and we are now at the vehicle. So I'll show you the MDCI that we've got plugged in using the Phoenix Smart, and we'll do a health scan and see what that gives us. So this is a top-down MDCI Pro. You can see there, nice bit of kit. Obviously it's Bluetooth. You've got your connection points in there if you want to use otherwise, but what we're using is the Bluetooth connection. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to balance that up in the steering wheel. I'm going to try and get it out of the glare as much as I can, but we'll go into Volvo, click OK, and I'm going to pause this now, speed up the process, and I'll come to you once we're on the topology page. Now, just as a little extra point here, when you turn the ignition on, we have got no engine light for what I can see. We've got no engine warning light on the dash or no engine lamp illumination. You can see there we've got a Volvo C70, it's a 2007 year. The engine type is D5244T8, and what I'm going to do is do a smart scan, and I'll come back to you once the smart scan is done. So here's a health scan here. I'm just going to turn that ignition off because the customer's got his own battery support connected up. Very rare that you find a customer that goes to these sort of lengths to do that, so that's always good. If we go into passenger door module, I'm not interested in that. What we'll do is we'll just go on to the important areas. So if we go into TCM, you can see there we've got a mobiliser faulty signal. If we go into SRS, engine status faulty and power steering. So that's basically what that's saying, is it can't communicate with the engine control module. If we go into ABS, you can see we have got communication between control modules, communication problems with the engine control module. So you can see there that we've basically got three possibilities here, but the one that we're looking at is obviously engine control module, and that is greyed out. If you go into diesel engine side, that is greyed out. So on the powertrain we have got a missing communication with engine control module, and that's obviously going to be down to the starting issue. It will crank, but without the engine, or without the engine electronics being online, it's not going to be able to operate, you know, the correct sort of consumers on the engine side to actually fire it up. And obviously we've got that immobiliser side fault as well because it's not communicating with it anyway. But what I'm going to do is I am going to get a wiring diagram up on HGS data and we'll take things from there. So we've got a wiring diagram up for a Volvo out there, and like I say, it's just going to be the basic stuff that we're going to test to check whether we have got an issue with the engine control unit, or is there a missing input which isn't allowing the engine control unit to fire up, or, you know, power up at least. I said fire up, I don't know why I said fire up. But you can see here you've got a main relay here, which of course is switched from the engine ECU itself. Once that switches over, that will supply fuse F33 and F35 with power, and it will send power down to B5, B1 and B3. So that's our main sort of power supplies. Now, have we got any other feeds in here? I don't believe we do. I'll just double check. No, so we don't have any other feeds. Of course we do have our earths, which are I believe somewhere down here. Let me just scoot along. So you can see our earths there. So we've got 3 earths at B2, B4 and B6. So we really need to be checking the inputs going into the ECU and making sure they pass a load test. Now, lucky enough for us, the customer has already got the wheel off on the passenger side. I think he was checking some stuff in there. So all we need to do is remove the cover for the engine ECU. That'll give us access and we'll be able to do the tests direct. So we've got 2 more screws to remove, and if we go in here, just drop that down there at the moment. We've left one in here as well, and we'll just set these 2 up here for now with the rest of them. And what I'm going to do is just turn this off at the moment so it doesn't interfere with the mic, because this mic picks up a lot of things. So oh dear. Okay, so we've had, looks like some water sitting there. Oh, look at that engine ECU. So that is all kind of crystallised, corroded right along there. You can see we've got quite a bit of rust at the edge there. So I'd be very surprised if this engine ECU is any good, but I'm going to get our 2 connectors off, make sure we've not got any corrosion in at the actual pins, and then we'll test each circuit for integrity. So I've had to put my little mic thing on there. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. I'll turn it around. So I don't really like that little sort of filter thing, whatever you want to call that, on, because sometimes it interferes with the mic as well. But it's very windy here, so if there is any interference, there's not really much I can do with that. So looking at this ECU right here, obviously you're going to have some corrosion there, just because it's had water sitting there, but the seal does look intact. I'll bring it into the van just so we can get out of this wind. It's wild out there, even though it looks like a nice day. So in there, the pins are actually brand new. There's nothing screaming out to me about, you know, causing any issues, but obviously with that sitting, it looks like it's had water sitting up to there or something, just with the rust and the corrosion on the actual body of the ECU. So we might still be looking at a problem with the ECU, but we need to confirm that we've got all of our inputs. One thing I probably should have done is I'm going to need to reconnect the ECU anyway, or I can just go to the main relay. Obviously this relay right here is earthed through the engine ECU, so to test the integrity of that black and blue tracer right here, I'll zoom in, zoom back a wee bit. So to test the integrity of that, obviously we've got our 30 amp fuse going into pin 86 of the relay, and that's going down. So with that ECU removed, on the plug end we should have a power supply there, so that we'll be able to test the integrity, and if we ground that out through a test lamp, that should switch that relay over and we'll be able to test the power supplies going into here. So we can do the majority of the testing with the ECU disconnected at the moment. Right, so let's run through the plan of attack here. So we know that this right here is our main relay. Now that relay is switched from the engine ECU itself, so a supply comes from F9, which goes for a 30 amp fuse, runs through pin 86, goes through the relay, comes out at 85 and goes to pin B42. So once that receives a supply, if everything is all good, that should switch that over, and then it will give the ECU its main supplies, which are at B5, B1 in B3. So the way that I'm going to test this is I'm going to give the pin here, B42, so I'm going to give that an earth through my test lamp. If the test lamp switches and you can hear that relay click, then we can confirm that this wire from here to basically the relay is good. So that's one test that we're going to do, but also once that switches over, that will switch that relay over if the relay is good, and we will put a H7 bulb into B5, B1 and B3, any of those pins which are basically a power supply. And if I come across here, while we've got that H7 in, instead of running an earth back to the battery for the bulb to light up or not light up depending on if the wire's good or not, I'm just going to go right into the earths for the engine ECU, and that will roll out the earths and the powers, and yeah, that's pretty much it. One thing that I did forget to mention as well, I didn't really look at the wiring diagram that well, is we also have a supply coming in here, an ignition supply going to B41. That is on a green and yellow wire. That comes from a 10 amp fuse from your body control module side, so we will check that. But first of all, what I'm going to do is get set up and we'll check the main wires at the engine ECU. Okay, so here's where we're at. We've got our test lamp right here connected up to battery negative, and what I have got in here, hopefully I'll be able to stay out of the wind, is if I look at this connector here, this connector block, pin 45 is right there, so we want to go 45, 44, 43, so pin 42 is the switching side of the relay. So if I probe this with my test lamp, it should click. If I'm on the right wire, that is. Oh, there we go. So if I probe that with my test lamp, you can see it clicks, and our H7 bulb lights up nice and bright. So that is all good, guys. So we have got our H7 bulb, or it's actually H4, but doesn't really matter. We've got that connected into the main power feeds that come from that relay once it's switched over. So on pin 2, 4 and 6, which I don't know if you'll be able to see there, that's our 3 grounds, and the pins just next to that, 1, 3 and 5, that's our power supplies. So basically what I'm going to do is switch that with a permanent ground. That will switch the relay over, and we'll just one by one just test these, make sure they're good. So our main relay is this one in here, and I'm going to try and leave the mic down there so you can hear it clicking once I bridge out that wire or give it a ground. So let's do that. So hopefully you could hear that. You can hear the relay clicking, and as you can see, our bulb there is good. So I'm just going to switch on to the other 2 wires, try the other, the remaining 2, and yeah, that's pretty much concrete proof that our wiring is good. Basically everything's there. We could test all this with the engine ECU plugged in, but again, the switching side might be a bit off, depending on what's knackered inside the engine ECU itself. But yeah, apart from testing the other 4 pins for the powers and grounds, there's not really much else. Obviously we need to test that ignition feed coming from the body side, but if that's all good, we'll check the CAN network, and yeah, that's pretty much everything ruled out. So I'm just going to prop you guys up there. We've got a wee bit of a bad connection in that pin, but can't do anything about that now, so I'm just going to move these across. You can see, well, you will not be able to see the actual bulb, but you can see it light up, so we know that those 2 are good. And if we go into the other 2, see, it's just this connection here. So if we go into the other 2, you can see that lights up nice and bright as well. So all we've got to do is test the network and the ignition feed. So I've got that connected into pin 45. All we need to do is go turn the ignition on, make sure that bulb lights up, which it should do, hopefully. You can see there. So the ignition feed coming from the body control module going to the multi-plug on the engine ECU is good. So all our inputs are there. We'll just connect up the scope quickly, check the network. Like I said, if that's all good, then engine ECU is at fault. So as we suspected, the ECU is dead. It did fail on the bench test as well. No communication, so pretty happy to go ahead and get a second-hand ECU. Now this test that I've done here wasn't really necessary as such. I just like to do these little extra bits just to be 100% sure that it's definitely going to be that. But you know, if we've got everything going to the ECU, all the inputs and that are good, powers of grounds, CAN network, then it can't be anything else. It's got to be the engine ECU. So we're going to get a second-hand one and make it plug and play. And yeah, get this customer back on the road. So I'm going to get all this put away, guys. This is going to be the end of the video. Just a little update on the channel, what I've been doing, things that have been going on and whatever. But yeah, thanks for watching. Remember, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.